TikTok really changed everything, huh? I don't necessarily mean that in a good or bad way, just a blanket statement, really. The short, fast-paced style of videos has, in a weird way, really helped out a lot of small businesses and niche artists reach a much broader audience than they would otherwise. Regardless of how you feel about the app, you have to admit it is pretty cool to see happen. Now, admittedly, not everything that pops off on TikTok is great. For every barely human, there's a godforsaken Tom McDonald. But regardless of quality, or more accurately, lack thereof, this kind of marketing works. Seeing a little out-of-context snippet of something can often pique your curiosity more than anything else. And hell, I'd be lying if I said this didn't work on me. It's why we're here today, after all. For a little context, a while ago during a late-night doom scroll, I stumbled upon an ad for something called Welcome to Dolltown. This little 30-second clip mesmerized me, and I knew for a fact I had to play this game. Maybe it was the PS1 style graphics, the Silent Hill-esque aesthetic, the gothic character design, or maybe, just maybe, it was because it showed you could do an RKO in a horror game. WWE takedowns in a fucking horror game. I was so down for this. I needed this. Inject this shit straight into my veins. Anyways, I downloaded the game and played it, and it turns out it's interesting, that's for sure. You're probably wondering at this point what the hell this game even is exactly, and honestly, good question. I'll try my best to explain, but this game is really goddamn confusing. From the Google translated text, the nonsense logic, and the lack of explanation makes this a very weird experience. So the premise is you play as a girl going to this town called Guess What, and gets guided around by this girl named Frangian, I think it's how it's said. She also explains the town's history, her father creating dolls that I guess kill people, her sister's passing, and some other stuff. All this is presented in a very confusing way. Randomly, you'll just cut to flashbacks and other story events. It gives the game a very unfinished feel, probably because the game is. Yeah, no surprise, this is all just a demo. And despite everything I've said so far, I actually kind of dig the story. It's not perfect by any means, and its flaws are extremely noticeable. But just like the Hello Kitty girls everyone warns you not to date for your own sake, it's immensely alluring in spite of its roughness. The visuals are really what saved this game, however. This 90s horror revival aesthetic has blown up so much recently thanks to stuff like Crow Country and the haunted PS1 demo discs, and I just eat this shit up like a professional eater. And the game runs with this look to its benefit. It has a really eerie look to everything that still manages to look stunning. The thick fog, pitch black skybox, and desaturated colors all give it such a striking look. It does wonders on my brain. This whole town has such good design, even if it is a little derivative of Silent Hill. But hey, if you're gonna steal ideas, steal from the best. Plus, a lot of the scares in this game do actually work really well. These dolls that litter the environment sometimes randomly move or stare at you, and when this happens, it genuinely does freak me out a little. Plus, the scene near the end where it's just raining down this one girl did put me on edge. Now granted, I was playing this for the first time while listening to a fucking 100 gecs, so maybe this had more to do with it. But still, it's a good scene. Now, unfortunately, I gotta get to some of my gripes with this demo. Like I said earlier, the story is fucking incomprehensible at times, and that does leave you interested, but it also has the downside of sometimes leaving you utterly baffled at what's even happening, and not in a good way. But the real problem with this game is its god-awful controls. Yes, I am now just getting to the actual gameplay. You know, that thing I lured you in with at the beginning? The fighting is nothing like most survival horror games. Instead of slow, heavy, and methodical attacks, you just fucking wail on them with punches, and that's it. In the current state of this demo, there are no finishing moves like the TikToks promise. Talk about clickbait. At the very least, you can emote, so that's cool, I guess. Now, honestly, I'm pretty hopeful this stuff will be added into the final release, but the false advertising isn't my biggest problem here. As I mentioned before, the controls are ass. The actual combat in this game feels like arthritis. Like in a lot of horror games, you have to hold a button and then attack, but in most games, you'll also lock onto an enemy when you hold the trigger/bumper. Not here, you just fucking hold the button and mash X and pray you hit. Actually, I do think the game does lock on, but it feels kinda spotty at times. Plus, every time you attack, the camera swings rapidly like the camera operator was crossfaded on Booze and Fent. Also, you have only one attack, and that's it. No light and heavy attack, no grab, no block, no parry, no roll, no nothing. It's just mash X till the enemy drops. So needless to say, the fighting sucks donkey dong. But not only that, walking around feels like dog water too. The map here is massive, and you move at one speed only, and it is not fast at all. So have fun getting lost because everything here looks the damn same. Not only that, there's nothing to do in the open world. You can find these like origami pieces and there's the solution to the only real puzzle in the game here. I'll get back to that later. Other than that, there is jack shit to do. No enemies to encounter, no scares, no real set pieces, nothing. It's honestly really boring. And as for that puzzle I mentioned earlier, it's fine, I guess. If you spend a long ass time exploring the vacant ass map and reading some of the notes, you can figure it out on your own. But one problem I did have with the puzzle is that the code you need for this door doesn't stay on screen. It leaves after a few seconds. So hopefully you're paying attention to the dialogue. So needless to say, this game is pretty jank. And trust me when I say that, I am the queen shit of jank. I have played Hard Time 3. I have played Man in the Park 2, The Other Man in the Park. I have played You My Nikki, The Dream Diary. I have played multiple versions of Spider-Man 3 the game. I have played both versions of Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. I have played WWE 2K20. So you trust me when I say this shit is jank. Now, with all this said, you may think I hate this game, but honestly, no. The concept of this game is weird, but it's a strong base. The idea of a horror game set in a town overrun by dolls and mannequins where you do wrestling moves to take them out is really enticing, and I want to love this game. But in its current state, it's obviously unfinished and sometimes hard to even play. But I'm more than willing to forgive that because, again, this is just a demo. So if they do happen to be watching this video, which I kinda doubt because I'm world famous YouTuber Get Lost with 12 subscribers, but if they are watching, I'm extremely excited for the final release and will definitely give it a shot. Only if they do take feedback to heart and fix some of the game's issues. If not, I'll probably skip the final release.
We interrupt this program for an important news announcement.
So after I recorded all the voiceover for this video, I found out some mildly unsavory things about the dev of this game. Now, heavy emphasis on the mild. This isn't some like fucking toxic gossip train or Dan Schneider shit, don't worry. Honestly, I don't think any of this stuff is that big or worth boycotting the game over. However, I do feel it is important to let this stuff be known for anyone at all interested in giving this game a shot, just so they know the whole picture of everything. So first thing is, the original build of this game used AI art for its banner. Now, obviously, I don't need to explain why this is fucking lame, but if I can be honest, I really don't know why the dev chose to do this. Because most people who use AI art do it because they are either too lazy, trying to scam you, or just generally untalented. But the dev has clearly shown that they are more than capable of making wonderful art. And hell, even after getting some shit for using AI, they changed the banner to be a much more visually appealing one. Also, the game at some point used AI or still uses it to help with debugging the code. Now, I know nothing about coding, so I cannot say if this is a generally accepted use of AI or not. But according to this Reddit comment, it's not. Again, I know nothing about actually developing games, so coders, sound off about your say in the comments if you have any input. And lastly, this one's a little weird. So on the official website, the dev sells Steam keys for DLC that give you additional outfits. Cosmetic microtransactions aren't anything new, and according to the website, this is purely a way for the dev to raise money for the game. Now, this isn't weird, but what is that you can't buy these skins on Steam. You can only buy them directly from the Ko-fi. Also, the game isn't even done, so it is a little weird that you can buy DLC for a game that isn't even fucking finished. Granted, this isn't the only game to do this, but it is still a little off-putting the way they did it. The real issue here lies with the dev's response to criticism about this. On the Steam community page, both times this has been brought up, the dev has locked the post and responded pretty harshly to the person in question, even when the question itself isn't aggressive, like this person simply asking about deleted negative comments. Now, I'm not able to back up this specific statement about deleted comments, but given how universally positive the community page is, I'm inclined to believe it. But again, take all of this with a grain of salt. Whether or not you think this is all unforgivable is entirely up to you. Personally, I'm still willing to give the final game a shot, but after reading all this, I'm a bit weary of the dev. Still, even in my most negative take of this game, I still find it fascinating. There's nothing else out there quite like it, and I really hope this game turns out great. Even if not, I still managed to have some fun with Welcome to Dolltown. And if it seems like something you might enjoy as well, give it a shot too, and send the team some support. Anyways, that's about all I have to say. Till next time.